Yes, we miss these guys. We miss these guys so much. So we're doing, I said a while back that when we were doing, what am I doing over there? I was doing Carolina, and people I know were going to ask, why aren't you doing anything with the Hartford Whalers? Because we know the Hartford Whalers became the Carolina. We understand that. Us hockey people know that already. With that being said, as always, we enjoy having you here for our top 5 series. There is that thing real quick called a subscribe button. Hit that if you want to be noted for all the new stuff. And every time we make this little journey around, you come and hang out with us. We do appreciate you. But let's get to the gist of it. Try not to make this too long, but I'll try to make this as brisk, but it's the Hartford Whalers. I said I was going to do a separate video on this. Not a lot to go by because it didn't have a whole heck of a lot of jerseys, but a little bit that I can say about the Hartford Whalers. It's one of the most iconic brands, iconic logos ever, period. I mean, it's marketable. It always has been. But the major thing is that they could not get a new arena in Hartford, and they tried their hardest, save the whale, all that stuff. And then the team moved to become the Carolina Hurricanes, and they moved to Raleigh in what was it that they did? Let's see, last season, 1996, 1997. And I get all this info, as you can see. We're doing it through the NHL uniform database. You can see all the templates and all the time frames that they used all these jerseys. You get some little knickknacks on the way of notifications of what happened and all that. Get the team name and how it became, because it used to be one time they were the New England Whalers, and as type of the seaport industry, one of the things that they were major in, and they did play in the old Hartford Civic Center all those years. Kind of a small barn, not really a small barn, still amazingly 15, 16, 17,000 a game. Small market, but great fan base. Just couldn't get enough for a new arena. Moved the team, and lo and behold, Carolina is now a hockey bred, and they have a Stanley Cup. That means they have a Stanley Cup that won in 2006 against the Oilers. But in a sense, I'm just going to jump right to it. Hartford is just one of those hotbeds where hockey was such a big tradition, especially in the Northeast, when you got all the Big East teams, you get the Atlantic teams, the Ivy Leagues. Beanpot tournament is also big, but Hartford's such a huge hotbed. Providence is also very big with theirs as well, just down the road. But Hartford I just wish they had. I really wish they were back in the league, because being this a big marketable logo, probably one of the best throwbacks probably in NHL. If you're not a Nordiques fan, if you're not any of the other teams that are unfortunately defunct. But you go with the original, I mean, we're talking old school, the Whaler. You get the whales on the side. They call him Pucky. Pucky's the name of the logo. Pucky's the name of the mascot. It got transferred when that first women's league, that Premier Hockey League, that started with 4 teams, and good old Pucky got a new job. He was with the Connecticut Whale, but that league is now gone. And it kind of morphed into that new PWHL, and Boston now has a team. We're wondering maybe Quebec or Hartford will get a team down the road because it's flourishing. But the Whale has always been simple. It's just been that bright green with the big stripes on the bottom. I mean, the stripes set off on the bottom is such a huge. That's the huge part of this entire jersey. Now I've gone down and had an old one with the old New England Whalers with the spear in the middle, with the harpoon in the middle, and that was big. And there really isn't a whole heck of a lot to it. I mean, there was, as noticeable as it is, they tried to redo it a little bit for some of the refurbished classics, like if NHL.com or CCM brings out vintage wear or the vintage throwbacks, not like Mitchell and Ness or all that. They try to put together something like that, but it's Hartford. It's what can you possibly say? It's like I said, one of the best throwbacks, and I really wish it would come back. I really wish it would. Now, I really don't have a top 5 because I only had like a handful, but this was a good one, and then the Whaler was a good one, but I'm just going to let me just double check my work here. I mean, I guess I just showed you 5, but I'll just give you 4, and I'll give you the reverse retro that the Hurricanes did, and all it did was just invert the stripes on the bottom, kept Pucky on the shoulders, and just changed to silver on the jerseys, and people were like, "You didn't do anything but just make the jersey silver." Well, as down the road in this video, silver was a big part of their heritage with the jerseys. But this was a good jersey, not hard to find if you don't want to fake. And I say that a lot because it's so hard because collectors find fakes all the time. Some people take them just to say they have something of that retrospect. But this was a good jersey. If you can find it, good luck, because this was also the first reverse retro. This was in the pandemic year, so those ones are hard to find. I'll make this at 5 or 4 or whatever it was. It doesn't matter at this point. But the next one, I'll do the one. There it is. I'll do the one that the guys did in Carolina. This was, and I'll give Carolina their flowers a little bit. They're trying literally right now, this moment, to not try to push more Hartford Whalers stuff, because year after year after year, probably within the last, I don't know how many years they've done it now. If you kind of have the ballpark and you're a Whalers fan, throw a comment in. But Carolina has tried at least once or twice a year to honor their past. Not a lot of teams do that. Some do, but that's what heritage jerseys are for. That's what heritage and throwbacks are for. But when you were somewhere in specific, and it is a legendary place that probably will never get a team back, this was done fantastic. I mean, they had the pants. I keep hitting the wrong button. There it is. They did have the green pants at the time, touched up the stripes a little bit, kept pucky on the shoulders, and just enhanced the logo. And that was in, if I look at it correctly, that was a prime green jersey. If you can find that in prime green, that is a bonus for you, without question. And if I could find this jersey, I would. But if I get something, basically anything of the Whalers, that's a prime collector for anybody, any hard collector. The Whalers is without a doubt. I would cop this jersey in a heartbeat. But what would be number 2? Well, you remember off the top of your head that they had the silver? Well, yes, they did. They had the silver on the sleeves, right at the cuffs, and on the bottom. They just touched up and changed up the striping. But it just leads me immediately to number 1, and I'm not going to sweat it. I love the blue. I have always been a fan of the blue. That royal blue, when they went to they back, we're just going to touch it up. We're going to go back together. 92 to 97 is when they did that. When they went to the blue jersey, I absolutely adored it. Now, at that time, between obviously 92 to 96, 97, they were still wearing the white jerseys for home. That blue stood out. And it was kind of, and I'll say this pretty much on almost every video that we do, it has its own identity. They were holding on to that Whaler green all these years, and they went with the blue because the blue was a standout. It was a nice changeover. They were good for a couple of years, made a couple playoffs, didn't get past the first round. I think they got past the first round like once. I can't remember off the top of my head. And it was just a sad thing to see them leave. I just was so heartbroken to see them leave. And I'm just closing everything down because it's such a hard thing to go by, missing this team. Now, I'll shut this bar down real quick, pretty much just to say this, and I'll shut it down because I'm seeing how much time I have. I really wish the Whalers would come back, and in a weird world, if the NHL would ever expand to 40 teams, it probably would. It'll never happen. But when you get hockey hotbeds to have something that is a brand, that is one of the best brands in the business, I don't know why they just did not just stay, because the Hartford Civic Center is still in existence today. It's now the XL Center. I mean, that's where UConn plays. That's where the Hartford Wolfpack play of the AHL. They're the Rangers farm team. So UConn still plays there. They still play. The UConn hockey team still plays there. That building is still being used to this day. It's got upgraded. It got a handful of stuff upgrades. I think it holds about the same, about 14 or something, maybe 14,000 and change, right close to what Winnipeg's building is. But why not? Why can't you do it? Because it's an economic thing, and there are cities that are so much more important to have for a hockey brand right now than Hartford. It is what it is. Do I miss them? Yes. because this is the thing I'll say that at the end of the video. What do you remember of the Hartford Whalers? Which one was your favorite? Throw a comment in, chuck a like if you like the video, and as always, I'm going to shut the bar down, get out of here, and you guys can do whatever you need to do. Until then, I don't know where we go next because I'm just trying to double check on anything because yeah, I think we're gonna hop and fly over to LA next. I mean, they're Kansas City's in the middle, but they got two jerseys. So I'm not gonna sweat on those two at the moment. But I think we'll jump to LA next time we see you guys. And until then, I will see each and every you bloody legends in the next one. And yeah, this right here. I don't like Gary Bettman, but you know, who does? But I wish you'd bring these back. This is who I remember. See you guys in the next one.